this video explaining further on calculation of deflection in RCB. So first we calculate the serviceability load. The serviceability load is divided into two parts: short-term load acting on the beam and long-term load acting on the beam. Now for the calculation of short-term acting on the beam, we are summing the dead load plus live load. The live load is multiplied by the short-term factors. Now the dead load given in the questions, which is 60 kilonewton per meters, that is 60 kilonewton per meters, plus short-term factor psi s given 0.7 times 40, live load given in the questions 40 kilonewton per meters equal to 88 kilonewton per meters. Now long-term load acting on the beam is again dead load coming on the beam for the long term, which is 60 given in the questions, plus long-term factors 0.5 times 40 equal to 76 kilonewton per meter. So in the questions that the beam is given in the blue, but this black one is W, which has a value of 88 kilonewton per meter when you are calculating the immediate deflection due to the short-term loading, and WL is the live load 76 kilonewton per meter. Now there is another concept that is called effective second moment of area. Now I effective, so that is given in the page number 129 of Australian Standard. They have given you the equations here. This equation generally adopted from Eurocode 2, but I think in Australia we verify these equations and it is found that it's accurately predict the effective moment of inertia. What is effective moment of inertia? Effective moment of inertia is basically talking about that, okay, concrete will have a cracked portions and concrete has uncracked portions. So if you are talking about when you calculate the cracking moment, the applied moment greater than the cracking moments, your beam will crack, and less than the cracking moments will not going to crack. Now there is called tension stiffening effect, where the concrete in the crack regions will also carry the load. So the cracking effective moment of inertia is due to this tension stiffening effects. I will discuss further as we go, but that's the concept of effective second moment of area. Now to calculate the effective second moment of area, we need four quantities: cracking moment of inertia, gross moment of inertia, cracking moments, and the maximum moment at the region where we want to calculate the effective moment of inertia. Now if you turn the page and close 8.5.3.1 on page number 128, it has these short-term deflections where it says that for continuous beam at the end, let's say for the continuous beam, for the end span, half of the mid span value plus half the value at continuous support. So what we going to calculate? We are going to calculate the effective moment of inertia at the mid span, and we're going to calculate the effective moment of inertia of the supports, and we will take the half of that is basically average effective moment of inertia for this beam. That is based on this calculation here. So let's do the first steps, that we like to calculate the effective second moment of area of at the mid spans. Now to calculate that effective moment of inertia at mid spans, I can show you the location. We are basically looking at the mid span at 4.5 meters, and the cross section at the mid span is given here, reinforcement at the positive moment region, and that's the cross sections of the beam given at this particular 4.5 meter distance. Now we need to calculate this I crack, which is moment of inertia for the crack sections. Now for the crack sections, we have a neutral axis. This neutral axis can be falls anywhere in the beam. Maybe it's sitting, it can be sitting here, or it can be falls here. Let's assume that the neutral axis depth is sitting here in the wave. All right. Now once you found that the beam is cracked, meaning that the concrete below the neutral axis will not effectively carry any load. So we are taking out any concrete which are below the neutral axis, which is the tension side of the concrete. Now we don't know what is DN, because we know all the dimension. 1000 millimeter is the width, 300 millimeter is this width, 120 is that height. Now 710, that was just obtained by 800, take away this 90, will give me this 710 millimeters. Now these equations that we are seeing it here, which is the cracking moment equation, is just the bending equations. The equations that you can see, this is just a bending equations, which is required to calculate this ZFCTF minus sigma CS. Now in these equations, the assumption is that the materials that you are going to use is a homogeneous materials, meaning that we can't use steel and concrete both. So we need to convert this reinforcement, which is the steel, into the concrete. Now the conversions is done by using that ratio that we use. Now that ratio that we calculated or given in the question is the yield strength of the steel over yield strength of the concrete, which is 6.6. It's basically saying that yield strength of the steel is 6.6 times larger than the concrete Young modulus. So if you are saying ES equal to 6.6 times EC, so the same ratio can be used converting the area. So the area of these steels that you can see here, area of the steel, if I want to replace by the concrete area, then the area of the steel is, let's say, 6N28, which is 3720 millimeters square. We need equivalent concrete area to represent this 3720. That is basically multiplied by this N, 6.6. So we say that, okay, we can remove this steel and we can put the concrete bar that will have an area of 24500 on the tension side. Now there is a steel on the compression side, and it has area of 2710. Now to calculate this area on that compression side, which is N minus 1 ASC, which is 6.6 take away 1, which gives me this 12,150 millimeters square. This red one is the concrete replacing that steel. Now we need to find this depth of the neutral axis. We don't know where the depth of the neutral axis will fall. Now there is a equations that we can develop taking the first moment of area about the neutral axis. So it's basically, we are just dividing these top portions into two parts. Let's say this is the one cross section and that is a second cross section. So let's say this first one would be 1000 take away 300. So basically we are talking about these two, left and right, times by 120. So that is the area times the distance from the centroid of this portion. So if you are talking about the centroid, basically we have the centroid at 60 because 120, so 60. So this depth is dn take away 60, which will be give you this distance, which is dn times 60. So it's basically area times distance to the neutral axis from the centroid, plus this portion here, which is 300 times dn, that is the area, times the centroid distance from the neutral axis. So the centroid is dn over 2 because this depth is dn, plus this 12150, that is the area, times the distance. This distance is 60 given in the questions from the top of the edge to the centroid. So dn take away 60 equal to this 2420, that is the area, and this distance from the centroid to here will be 710. Take away this dn value will give us this distance from the centroid to the neutral axis. So if we simplify this, so that is equal to, you can see that this is tension side and this is compression side. Basically if you are talking about anti-clockwise moment is positive, so all are positive. Take away, let's say this is clockwise moment, so that will be negative if you bring this one across. If you simplify this, it gives you this value, bracket dn minus 60 plus 300 dn square over 2 plus this expansion of bracket give me this equal to expansion of brackets give me these parameters. Now we can expand the bracket again, which is 84,000 dn, and multiplication of opening bracket 84,000 times 60 give me this number, 300 divided by 2 give me 150 dn square, plus these numbers here that I just copy. I bring this one across to equal to sign, so that is minus and that is plus, equal to 0. Collect the like terms. We can collect the like terms. Let's say 150 dn square, and then if you have dn values that you simplify, and all with all these constants I simplify, that equal to 0. I divide the whole equations by 150. So divide by 150, divide by 150, divide by 150, 0 over 150 is give me these simple equations. Now if this is a quadratic equations, if you can solve these quadratic equations, let's say a equal to 1, b equal to this value and c equal to this value, then you would have a answer of, then you have a equations dn minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac 2a. Now minus b, I think we just calculated this value here. B is 805, b is 805, substitute, plus or minus 805, take away 4 times the a equal to 1 times c value is minus 153,850. I think there is a typo here, so it would be 1,854,663.3. that is a c. Please note there is a typo here. And if you substitute that value, you can simplify these equations in that terms. You can simplify this. You would have two answers, one with the positive sign and another one is a negative sign. So dn equal to 160 and dn equal to minus 965 millimeters. Now it would not make sense that if positive 160 millimeters did make sense here, but this minus sign which is above this value here, dn value, would not make sense. So we are not taking this value, we are taking positive values. Now we will calculate this moment of inertia. I think you know this concept of moment of inertia, but I will revise it here. I have divided this one into the 4 shapes. So let's say concrete one is these two portions, which is 1000 take away 300, so it's kind of b h cube. So b is 1000 take away 300 times h cube is 120 cube over 12 is give me this big number. Area is, let's say, 1000 take away 300 times 120, that is the area millimeter square. Distance, now distance is a centroid distance, so centroid is 60 millimeters and the depth is 160. So you are basically looking at 160 take away 60 will give me the centroidal distance of this top flange from this neutral axis, that is the distance d. And if I know these equations, that I can calculate here, which is 100.8 times 10 to just basically substituting this value here plus area times 100 square, it's give me this number. Now concrete portion 2, which is sitting here. Now concrete portion 2 is 300 times 160 cube, which is 300 bh cube, so 160 cube. So basically I'm talking about this rectangle here, equal to 102.4 times 10 to the power 6. Area is 300 times 160 is this area. Now distance from the centroid would be 160 divided by 2 equal to 80. Now again you have a I0 102.4 times 10 to the power 6 plus area times this distance squares give me these numbers. Now tension steels, which is here. Please note this geometry is very small, so we are not taking bh cubed over 12, it is 0. The area is given 24,500. Now the distance from the center to the neutral axis is 710. Take away 160 will give me this distance, which is 54550 millimeters. So this is 0. So the area times 550 square, AD square, give me these numbers. Compression steels on the red portions, it has an area of, it has very small geometry, so bh cubed over 12 is taken 0. And we are just taking the area 12150 area times the distance d from this centroid of this reinforcement, which is 160. This depth is 160, take away 60 will give me the distance d, which is 100, gives me 12150, which is area times d square, which is 100 square, give me these numbers. Now this sum will be total sum 940.8 times 10 to the power 6. This number plus this number plus these numbers will give me this 8.9 10 to the power 9. What is this number? This is the cracking moment of inertia at the midspan. So if you are talking about here, what is the cracking moment of inertia for these cross sections is this 8.9 times 10 to the power 9. Thank you very much.